Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Jacob Silverblade, and today we've got a video on Haarken World Claimer. Yes, this is a newly updated Haarken World Claimer because he's actually quite different from my last video. If we go down here, you have an extra deck here. This is the original with the curve out. Yeah, this is the original. Hold on, give me a second. I've been testing him quite a bit, so I've been doing a lot of different things. But this is the original. This is the original deck, which I did before the balance update came along, and this was how it worked. And it basically relied a lot more on something like Chaos Legionary, a very early curve, Chaos Sergeant, and then later on you would use your ability to actually, what it used to do, of course, strike, give a random dark pact to random friendly troop. Chaos Legionary was a very much fundamental part of that. They were able to keep that game plan going, and then hence, you know, Gadaron's Disciple was actually better. Unfortunately, this change is worse overall, unfortunately, in my opinion. Overall, with all of this, these changes has negatively, it's fundamentally changed how Haarken World Claimer plays. He does a different thing. He doesn't give those dark packs anymore, so hence such an early curve is nowhere near as necessary. You're looking at a kind of a bit of a different deck, but you're still aggro. So we'll go into what I've created now, and fundamentally everything from 3 engine above has stayed the same. In fact, we're still an aggro deck. Haarken World Claimer is still aggro. It's what his ability does. It still triggers on blast. Like, you actually have to deal damage with him, which requires attacking, so you have to attack anyway. It's still an attack based warlord. You still need to be punching. It's the whole benefit of your warlord power. The difference is now is that slay effect is more powerful on average, I would say, than his previous version, which was the what we gave for random dark pack to one friendly guy. It is overall more powerful, and you can trigger it multiple times, so hence it has that benefit as well, particularly with the blast. So this is where it gets particularly strong, because putting out a whole bunch of these guys, they have to punch with their warlord. That's 3 damage directly to the face. It can actually really seriously get become a problem. But it's all about trying to able to trigger that. So things like Chaos Legionary, which relied on that Dark Pact from Haarken World Claimer, able to trigger, and then what other sources, it's now out of the window. It doesn't really achieve that. I've still get a Chaos Sergeant. You could put it in Chaos Legionary instead if you just think it's a better troop. I think for what we're trying to achieve, this guy's got 4 HP effectively because of the rally ability, and then Camouflage effectively makes him a better troop in my opinion. Hence I've gone for him instead as a 2 NG tempo block. But what we've done is that we put in something like Malicious Volleys. This deal 2 damage to an enemy troop, stunning it. Wasn't really that great before. I don't think it's really the best cards, but with Haarken World Claimer, it can be the difference between being able to slay a troop and not being able to slay a troop. And then it can also stun as well, so it has that purpose, and it does help towards the aggro game plan. So it just ends up being, even though I think could be a better card within itself, ends up being very synergistic with what Haarken World Claimer exactly wants to do. So we end up chucking in this card. We still kept the Spawnedom because Chaos Spawn, because he's got that flank and he's able to got that removal potential, and then that can put you able to put things into place to actually get blast 2'd by Haarken World Claimer's assault, or is it Hellspear Assault, which means that now we're triggering that slay effect. Overall, that is like the main differences. We've got Gadaron's Disciple, we chucked them out. And we put in actually Bringer of Decay, giving enemies all the enemies vulnerable 1, instead of the Gadaron's Disciple. This is because of a couple of reasons. Beforehand, it was such an aggro early game deck that Gadaron's Disciple also being better previously, where it permanently gave it a vulnerable 1, so even if he died, you could do blast 3 anyway with this guy. Ended up being a really worthwhile troop. It was also a troop you could buff up as well, because you can do that. Well, now you can't do that anymore, and the permanent vulnerable 1 able to trigger from Haarken World Claimer's blast ability later on doesn't really trigger now, and so hence we don't really want that as much early curve. It's not in the position. Haarken World Claimer's Spear Assault is more of a situational ability. In the right situation, extremely powerful. In other situations, it can be terrible. And so hence we just need a more generic good value sort of curve. It's still tending towards the early game because that's what Haarken World Claimer does, but it's still tending towards the early curve, so hence Bringer Decay being a very solid troop. It synergizes with Haarken World Claimer's just generic ability to give that blast 2. As I said, it would be a very powerful card in the previous deck. This deck over here, where we used to be doing the whole Dark Pact synergy, but it was just too late in the game to be worthwhile. Now that has fundamentally changed, in my opinion, and becomes not the case. I've done plenty of testing, doing all sorts. I very much considered only one of these and doing whatnot. You could remove a Chaos Sergeant, I guess, for Leonorcus, but I don't like the curve out. I think you just end up having too many 5-drops, and I personally don't think it works out so well. So I think you need a Turingy drop to just synergize with what Haarken World Claimer wants to be doing and what he wants to be achieving on average. You could potentially get rid of one Bringer Decay and Leonorcus, but I think the Bringer Decay is actually just too good in what Haarken World Claimer wants to be doing with that Slay ability, and deploying these guys. So yes, I think this is just what we do, and this is how we change it. What I will say is that there is a slight bug right now. If they do die to the vulnerable effect of the Bringer Decay, if they die to the vulnerable, it won't trigger Slay. I think this is a bug in my opinion, but I'm not entirely sure, and I cannot 100% confirm if it is a bug or not. Like, I don't know, but certainly right now, if they die to the vulnerable, so they have 1 HP left and they take that final 1 damage from the vulnerable effect, it won't trigger the Slay, meaning that it won't actually count as you deploying additional guys. I would have thought it would have triggered like that, but I could be mistaken. So yes, that's just the only thing to get out of the way. If that gets fixed, that would be great. I don't know yet. Overall though, Haarken World Claimer, I would say on average, is better now. He certainly is a lot better in a lot more matchups. But there is some matchups which I would say he's actually worse. One of the matchups where he is absolutely terrible now is Imhotep. Imhotep is an awful matchup to Haarken World Claimer because there's just nothing to trigger Slay with. There really isn't. There's not a single thing where you're going to be triggering Slay with Haarken World Claimer. And so hence you can't be spamming the board as like you would normally be able to. So hence Imhotep is a terrible matchup. I can only imagine that Titus is a really bad matchup as well, particularly if they're going for that gym boss strategy. They could Titus, you can do other strategies, but the gym boss strategy he does the best out of any warlord in my opinion. So typically we see Titus as gym boss, and if they're going for that strategy, I can only imagine that being awful for Haarken World Claimer. And it wasn't really a great matchup to begin with anyway. These grand matchups weren't the best. And now I think they're just even worse, because at least your ability gave you a guaranteed strike and you could at least buff up the unit in some sort of way. Now you can't even do that because there's not even a guy to go along and trigger Slay with your Hell Spear ability. So you end up just not having a hero power, which is terrible in those matchups. But in other matchups, he's absolutely amazing. I can only imagine him absolutely destroying something like Medjol Galen. Area, like just the constant deployment of guys. Gazgol would really suffer with this because he poison grot, and then Haarken World Claimer gets less damage and then takes less damage, deals more to Gorjang, and then Gazgol, and then he deploys down effectively a better guy with 3/3 with 2 stats instead of a 1/1 with 2 stats. There are some matchups, and then there's some which are in between. So yeah, overall, I think he is better on average, particularly with that fly ability. I forgot to mention that. That fly ability does actually seriously help with all the pings and whatnot and the things you can do. It can mean the difference between taking a lot of damage and very little. I've used that I'm not saying it's the biggest change in the world, but it's substantial enough that it means something, which is brilliant. Overall, I think he's an improved warlord. He does a better job. Is he as good as these other warlords? I think Xylar is still probably better, closely followed by Abaddon. Is he better than Galaron the Pious? I don't know. They certainly play very differently. Certainly, Haarken World Claimer is a very, very different ward. He hardly synergizes with Dark Pacts at all, by the way. Now, with his change, he does, like, just basically no Dark Pacts synergies whatsoever. His whole purpose is burden damage and then somewhat spam the board with a low curve, right? Now, what is he doing? He actually has a better synergy with Vulnerable because he has that Blast 2 going for him. So hence he's a very, very different type of warlord. And he does have a unique playstyle, which is fun, no doubt. Is he better? Don't know. But this is where I've got him so far, 2,842 at time of recording. So he must be pretty decent. He must be doing all right. I'm not saying he's the best in the world because I've been, you know, I have been grinding away with him a little bit over this past day. But he can't be useless. He's not useless. He's half decent. So yeah, let's get into some games. Now Swarmlord. Now Possessed Marine is very useful here against Swarmlord. I would also say Traitor's Hate as well, because we can Traitor's Hate whatever stealth unit and then also blast, so that could be 4 damage on units. But we're not looking at particularly anything amazing here, I don't think, so I think we'll get rid of Bringer Decay actually. Yeah, that's decent, it gives us more options.
Prepare for the coming of damnation!
And no point playing this, it doesn't achieve anything, so we're just going to range attack him. Oh wow. I think we don't have to deal with him. I'm gonna have to attack that. If he doesn't attack it, we can potentially use hero power to, you know, blast it and stuff. But yeah, I expected him to attack with it. Does he have a Gene Stealer now? Oh, Digestion Pool, my mistake. How could I presume that he was getting a mere Gene Stealer? Plays that guy and gives it a buff, fine. Oh yeah, +2 stats. Flippin' heck, yeah. That's a bit of damage.
See your blood flow.
Nice, that's pretty good. So I did have to take damage from my Warlord here because of his change, but he has now got... He is a bigger boy for him to deal with, so... Yeah, so now he had to take the 6 damage there. Yeah. Well, GG, I suppose. Traitor's Hate is useful. You're useful. You just can be a little bit high. I don't like this. No, there's nothing really to do things with here, so we'll go Hell Spear. Yeah, he does have the cost reduction on that. Buddy.
Prepare for the coming of damnation.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought it bugged out there.
You will embrace the Tauva or be destroyed.
Yeah, generate a thing. I've got a lot of things to deal with his stuff if he does go for an early curve. I wonder. He's still playing. He's decided to pass off. I don't really have anything here. Chaos Spawn, I'm not it, so he didn't play anything for us to utilize, so we're just intimidating with using our hero power. That definitely benefited us. Yes, absolutely. Think about it.
Calculating enemy trajectory.
It gives it shield. I think what we do is use this. We want to try and attack and kill him. And I think I will be using... Oh, I did it wrong. It's alright because we got 2 spawn them, but I did that in the wrong order. We didn't need to use this. That's a misplay right there. We obviously, guys, if you're wondering, we obviously wanted to intimidate him. We're forcing, you know, a bad, very bad play out of him by
The greater good brooks no obstacle.
making him waste resources or whatever. Obviously, this was all intentional. Yes.
I will see your blood flow.
Nice, nice. I think we will do this. Actually, he had Vanguard, so maybe that was a mistake. We do have Dracnian, which should be able to really help us here.
Optimal target marked for elimination.
Now, does he play the drones? So he does. He gives him +1 life. Doesn't really change my play here. We do this. No, I don't think we change from doing this. And we want to kill both of them, so we get the double slay off. And this is where Haarken World Claimer can actually get a bit of a problem. If the opponent plays somewhat into what we're trying to do, somewhat, it can't somewhat can't be avoided, but particularly right there, that's where he's really popping off, where he's putting down 2 of these guys, and then they actually have to properly respond to that. We are playing Dracnian a turn behind effectively because of that, but I think it's probably worthwhile. Probably worthwhile, I reckon. What else could we in theory do? Not particularly much, to be honest. No, we're gonna have to Dracnian here. Taking a bit of damage, but we do get the guy, and now we have Dracnian as a permanent buff, which is, I think, the major part.
The prosecution of any war courts the perils of barbarism.
Activating stealth field.
I see. So we can't actually target that how we want it to. No, we don't want to use that there then if we're going to do that play. We want to use hero power. Because we also want to get rid of the stealth drone, so I think we do use this. And then he is still alive, but he will die. In theory. Okay.
Strike at the heart of the enemy.
Shield on she, right? Yeah. He attacks, that makes sense to me.
Activating stealth field.
Now what do we do here? So I think we malicious volleys this guy. And I do think we use this and get the reward from... Ah, no, I've done that in the wrong order, arguably. Oh no, I kind of have. But now I do want to trade his hate. Do I do it anyway? Because it will kill my own guy. Oh, I couldn't get value out of Trader's Hate then. It wasn't possible. Main thing is this guy's stunned. No, I don't want him to play in a stealth unit and then me regretting. So I think we'll play him because he's
and your death will be quick.
a very good value piece. Still has flank, yeah, because he's infantry.
All is lost here. Yet let none who are wise deny destiny.
Could he not have... Oh no, he didn't have quite enough energy to play a shield. Chaplain Avarius. You don't see him every single day. No, he is done to be playing troops, I can tell you that much. Well, at least that's how I've always played him. Chaos Spawn, Galon's champion. Thunderstorm? No, we're not going to be talking about that. Can we? No, we can't be. Things I don't want audible armament as much as he does. So... Aerial Clash. Oh, whatever. The reason why I think Aerial Clash is because he probably isn't going from death from buffs, or at least I wouldn't explicitly put it in.
Forward, brothers! Today we deliver the Emperor's wrath!
If he's able to get going, he could actually cause a really serious problem, so we want to avoid that. He's chosen not to attack. I think we do play Galon as champion.
Surrender to Galaron, and your death will be quick.
And now that curve has been somewhat fixed, because, you know, he could have in theory played Scout Bike, and if he played Scout Bike, we'd certainly be in a very bad situation, so I didn't want to take that risk. But now we think we're in a bit of a better situation. To the point where we're probably going to be able to go for a bit more of a beatdown play.
For the glory of the Dark Gods!
Vader ATV.
Pass through enemy lines.
But I don't know. Sorry, I'm just so miffed by the Vader ATV that it's just straight up surprised me. I don't think we use Spawndom here. I think we just go for the ideal trade. We use you and we put you in between, I reckon. Going camouflage and then punch face. Now, it'll be a real shame if he does have Devastator Doctrine, but it could be worse.
Temper your speed with faith and flame!
Aim true and strike them down!
Now, is this the time, a good time to play Draconian? Yeah, because we can probably kill this guy with Helldrake Strike anyway, so I probably will play him Draconian and get the aggro going.
Threats are in position. Let there be fire!
I had a feeling that the Eldritch Strike wasn't going to be the best thing in the world. So now we have to play this here. I do think we just punch. Yeah, because funnily enough, that will mess up an Assault Doctrine. That's the one advantage here. So he has to play like a Scout or something, and then you can play Assault Doctrine.
Even in death, I still serve.
Ooh, he's got the counter he needs here. I think we kind of need our own invulnerability, to be frankly honest. As you do. You know, just my own invulnerability, guys. What the heck? Yeah, it's just whatever, right? We'll just do this, and we would go something like this. Probably want to remove this guy. But just to prove the point, I think that should trigger the Slay effect. Doing it like that, it doesn't.
A reckoning shall come!
I won't lie, that was a crazy, crazy top deck. I did have no right at that point. Ooh, Imatech. Now, this is the matchup I've said was absolutely terrible for us, and I think I stand by this. We'll get rid of these two, because he's probably not going to be doing particularly much. And I will go for Hellfire Torch, because keeping that guy camouflaged could be a game winner. We'll have to see. Smack Marine?
Prepare for the coming of damnation!
I will reshape this galaxy into a place of order and unity.
Okay, so let's go for this.
Cruelty is strength.
And we do just need to punch him in the face. Dimensional corridor, okay. So he probably has the perfect plank piece by now. Go for you.
Such sweet cacophony.
Go for you. Punch there. Do we punch for this guy? Yeah, it's more damage, so we will. Yep, I expected this guy, to be frankly honest. Now he does live. So normally I would play this guy. Do we just range attack it? Because strike still triggers, right? Oh, triggers out of attacking if it is right. Don't know what. Strike triggers too. As much as I want to get advantage out of hero power.
See your blood flow.
That's very nice. Ah, no, really? We have bloody reanimation protocols. Come on, man. In all seriousness, you're not gonna work. No, you're not. I mean, like, yeah, we just... It's kind of a easier situation where we can use hero power, but...
We cannot wait any longer.
Nah, I think we use this. Yeah. We could, malicious volley it. Set up for another turn. I think I will. And hopefully the idea is by setting up for another turn, we can then, get multiple slay effects going on. Okay, and what else? Just hero power? Hyperlogical, that makes sense. Hero power, okay, that's not the worst, actually. Quite annoying. But we do have Traitor's Hate. Nah, we're not going to be using that. We're going to be using Traitor's Hate here. Then we're able to use this. I'm getting that double trigger down. And I think we will use Spawnman here to get rid of that. So we don't want healing anymore. Then we can avoid already. That's quite annoying. I guess you can kill the Spawndom. No, there's no other play here. We have to do this.
And die. By my will, render them down to atoms.
Okay, that's not too bad. In fact, we can do this. Yeah, we can do this first. Okay. We can do you second.
I live in your nightmares.
We can get an extra guy. No, he does have that. We do want him gone. Hopefully he doesn't have Tomb World. So that would be horrible at that point. Okay, hyperlogical makes sense. I think we do the same sort of thing again, so we're going to do this.
Live in your nightmares.
I'm going to play you first, then use that.
Cacophony.
He's going to get his guy back, and we're going to do this. Well, we can get his guy back. Yeah, I thought so. We already had one reanimation protocol, why not use the second? And he has his bloody thing. Ugh. Now his ability's free. How do you kill him? Oh, damn. Right. So here I kind of just need to not die. Now I need to use this, and I might as well. The other option was Hellgate Strike? I'm not so confident. Oh my golly, really? I mean, this has always been a bad matchup. No, it's not really going to change anything. No, I think I've honestly lost. I think this is the best thing I can do. Gotta remember he's got Resurrection Orb. Nah, I've lost.
This
GG.
was all part of the War Master's great plan.
New Earthrobe? I think we keep this then. Because we need it just in case he pings something out, which is oppressive. I think this is actually a pretty good starting hand, to be honest.
Prepare for the coming of damnation.
We don't have anything to use it on here, but we will just be going face. Yep. Nice, that's a pretty darn top deck. Gives us something to do. Not the greatest though. Okay. Here we just oh, possess champion actually. I was thinking about using spawn them, but because if he does get something out really quickly, for example like a hive crone or something like that, no, if you spawn them isn't gonna work like that, is it? He can only melee attack. No, I don't think we Noise Marine here. So we Noise Marine, no, that doesn't achieve anything, so we play you.
Follow me to victory.
Okay, digestion pool. Into a harpy. Okay. Hold on. Is there a way we can... Just gonna create a guy. Yeah. Now we get the extra guy, and then we blow it up. Right, we could have, in theory, malicious volleys that, and then just use hard removal afterwards, but I think this is overall better. Hard one to say though, really. Okay, we don't particularly have anything here, so we certainly start with you. I want to play you, but we have to get you down to the right health value. So it's going to be spawned you. So spawned. Really, we have to spend all of this. We do, don't we? Unless I use malicious volleys or whatever, but I think malicious volleys would be better. So we do this. Right, okay. What is he playing next? Because he has stalled for a turn, very successfully. Well, I was probably going to make that trade anyway. So I kind of had to.
Wither and die.
Yeah, I decided to make that play because I don't think I really have particularly many options. Trader's Hate can always kill this guy later, and we kind of just can't be dealing with it right now, to be frankly honest. I want to summon some... No, I do think we want to summon some guys, so we'll do this. Then we'll do this. We'll get our guy out.
Such sweet cacophony.
And then in between, I think we'll go
Cruelty is
so and so. I guess we kind of hope he doesn't have a Ravenous Hunger. I didn't want to use Helldrake Strike there because at some point, well, I guess we could have not summoned so many guys, but... Oh, he's not going Ravenous Hunger. He kind of needs it. Well, GG. So there we have it. I think that was, all in all, a pretty good showing, if you ask me. Got about... When did we play? We played about... Was it this guy? I know we played Onvar. Yeah, we started off with Swarmlord, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. And yes, as you saw, Imatech is an absolute terrible matchup. Well done to Spac Marine. He's a pretty good darn player. And yeah, watch out for Imatech. Watch out for those gym boss strategies. This is what this really suffers against. But people who want to just play on board, this is actually a pretty good darn deck, and it can be very successful in that. So I hope you all enjoyed, and see you next time.